Appreciate you always making time for us. Lloyd informed me, and I don't know if this is I think it's a bad thing. I don't know why you opened this door, but Lloyd informed me that he texts. I can't believe you even allowed him to send you text messages.
Yeah, we might have to get that under control.
Coach, I've been really good. I've been so repressed. I'm doing my best, dude. I feel like I'm trying to court you. It's like the best I can do of it. I'm not bothering you. I could.
Yeah. Lloyd, we might have to get a middleman involved in this.
Yeah,
thing.
we'll go through a broker.
I can screening these things real quick.
That'd be Maureen.
We'll talk. Well, yeah, we'll talk about this at a different time. Coach, it looks like you're in a hotel room. Obviously, the draft happened a few days ago. In the last few days, you've had to figure out, who we think's going to sign, who's not going to sign. It feels like on our side, from the outside looking in, that you had a really good draft. Obviously, a bunch of LSU guys. I think we had 9 guys drafted this year in the draft after 13 last year. So great, successful draft for the players that come to LSU, develop, and leave. Also a great draft for you and the team for next year and the coming years of guys, not going and coming to school or thought of to leave school and ended up coming back. How would you assess the way that the draft turned out? And I thought you'd be kind of relaxing, but it seems like you're still on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, so I thought it was a great draft. I think, obviously the winning tradition here is super important. How we win is really important to me, and how we win is by developing and getting guys ready for Major League Baseball. So see 9 players, achieve their dream of taking the next step in their professional baseball career is awesome. 22 in the last 2 years is remarkable, and I think by a large margin, the most in the country, and something that we're super proud of. And a lot of those guys have really good stories of how they got to that point. So that's really the first thing, and want to make sure we celebrate those guys. It's an interesting time because you're trying to celebrate that, and it has such a bearing on your next team, just in terms of, what you have to start with, so to speak. And I thought it was a really successful deal. We had a great high school recruiting class. We knew we were going to lose some of those guys. Really good additions through the portal. We only lost one of those guys, which, we kind of knew that was probably going to happen even when we got him. So, I don't know if you grade it. You certainly can't right now. All that matters is what happens on the field in the spring. But I'm really excited about the roster. We had a long way to go, frankly, from, when we ended the season. And I think at one point we had 11 returning players. And obviously, getting a couple of these guys back that maybe we didn't expect helped. And, we obviously, needed to do good with the high school guys getting to campus. And I'm super proud of some of them for having conviction in their belief in themselves to come to LSU and, delay the gratification of a little bag of money, as I like to call it, and, dive into this thing. And then, the guys we added in the portal too. So really excited to get to fall and take this, good collection of talent and make it a team. We got a lot of work to do that.
Coach, speaking about the collection of talent and next fall and how things are going to go, if you're looking pre-draft going into the draft, how realistic was it in your mind that you would be able to add, or I would say, wouldn't say add, would be able to keep the likes of a Bear Jones and a Michael Braswell on this next year's team?
Yeah, I think probably a better question for them. I will say I love both of those guys. Great player-coach relationship or coach-player relationship with both of them. They're both very important to me and to our staff and our program. But I think the separator is those two love playing at LSU. And honestly, if you're not playing for the Yankees, the Dodgers, somebody of that nature, this is the best place to play baseball anywhere. And I think both Michael and Jared appreciate that. And, in Jared's case, he has another year where he'll be a junior in the draft. And he had a great season. And he put a high value on himself, as he should. I don't know many people that hit 28 home runs against an SEC schedule this year, and Jared did that. And in terms of Michael, he had a value on himself that if it was met, he was going to go. It was not, so elated to return. And so I'm very grateful to players that make those decisions, because those are very impactful, not just on their on the field production, but, it's really important to me that we're continuing to build a program. And, having Michael and Jared back are going to help us continue to do that.
I'm glad you said build a program, because we've talked about this a lot on the show. We've talked about it a lot with you, and there's a lot of people around the country, or maybe people have different opinions on how to build a program. With the portal, a lot of people say, oh, you got to go to the portal every year and have a whole new team and all these types of things. And, that's kind of what you've seen sometimes. But I think to build a successful program for year after year after year after year, you have to, go in the portal, but you also have to have recruits come to campus, develop, and be there for multiple years so that you can establish some sort of consistency and tradition and culture. And having Braswell and Bear Jones come back, Bear will be there for his third year. Braswell will be a senior in college. You have Pearson already there. And the 3 freshmen that played last year, it feels like you have a really good mix of veteran guys and young guys with experience, and then young talented guys that are coming that can kind of fill in. Do you feel like you are starting to build that consistency and having the culture that you want to establish here at LSU year in and year out?
Yeah, I think you're always going to look at 2023 as the standard, and that's going to be hard to do. Like
right,
I've said many times, like that's going to go down as one of the greatest college baseball teams of all time. And it was a team on top of great talent and great play. I think what was unique about this year, 22 players drafted in the last 2 years, like that's a lot to replace. That's a lot to replace. And so we had a lot more we had to do this summer, than we've had. I think we've done an excellent job of picking the right guys in the portal each year, and it's been, 4, 5, or 6. This year we had to do more than that. It's just the way that it was when you have such a great group of players over the last 2 years moving on, and this year, we frankly had to completely rebuild the pitching staff. And so we were able to go out and get, 6 guys that have thrown good innings in college. And then, the high school grouping of pitchers is one to be really excited about that has shown up here. And, and then you add them with those guys that are returning. And, you have to do that if you want to compete to go to the College World Series right now. Because if you don't, the key players in this thing right now and top programs are going to do that. So it's much different than it's ever been. It's much more competitive than it's ever been. So I think you have to have a plan. You have to have a foundation of what you're trying to do, and you have to adapt, improvise, and overcome at times. And so we had a lot of work to do. And as we sit here today, I'm excited to get to the first day of school and get to work with this team.
Coach, I kind of want you to expand on this a little bit, because I'm not sure people listening kind of really understand like what it is. But obviously you're able to bring guys back who were in the program. That also bodes to helping for building culture. But a huge part of building culture is obviously getting these younger kids. Now, in today's environment of what today is and how these kids move in the portal and draft eligible sophomores, which I think is even more prevalent than what it used to be. Can you speak to how hard it is to be able to recruit the talent, the guys that y'all were able to recruit in this freshman class from where they were evaluated on a national level, and actually be able to land them and get them into school, and how hard that is in today's environment?
Yeah, it's spanned the entire 3 years that I've been here. I look at a guy like Derek Curiel, who's from California. I was talking to him when I was at Arizona, and he was in 7th grade, literally. It's crazy. And when I got this job, he committed shortly after that. Kate Arambidi was committed to another school in our league, and then, decided to come to LSU. And that was before I'd even coached a game at LSU. And then, a guy like Kason Evans, came along when it was really important to me that we recruit well in Texas. And he was one of the best pitchers in the state of Texas for 2024. He's a real winner, a guy that fans here are going to get to know very quickly. He came on board, and that's before we had won a national championship. And then, you start, continually moving forward. William Schmidt, was committed to another school, and then decided he really wanted to be at LSU. And that happened, last fall. And then up until, here recently with whether it's the transfer portal or high school players, it's a never ending process. It's very fluid. And, I want really elite players, just like you guys were, that want to be here. You obviously have to recruit, but this is a place that you should not have to beg players to play at. They should be excited to play at LSU and honored to play at LSU. And we haven't won a game yet. We haven't had a practice yet. We have a number of these guys here for summer school. The early returns so far are the character is very strong. The maturity is really good, and they are excited to be at LSU. And thus, turn down, some money in this draft. And I'm excited about that. And, we want to give them the best we got to make that pay off, not just in wins and Omaha and championships, but want it to pay off when it's their time again in the draft. And I don't think there's a better place for them to do that.
I know you said that, obviously you haven't played a game yet. You're bringing in all these guys, and you're bringing back some guys. Before the draft started, when everybody announced who's in the portal and everybody, all these types of things, there's a bunch of question marks. Who's going to play first? Because we didn't think Bear Jones was going to come back. Who's going to be behind the plate? What's going to happen if Braswell goes and your whole left side of the infield is gone? All these types of things. Well, a lot of those questions are answered with some of the guys you got in the portal, some of the guys that have come back to school. But, obviously you have to go out there and you have to earn spots and you have to put yourself in a position. You bring in Utah Valley State University, the infielder from over there who's one of the top infielders in the portal. He comes over, and he was a second baseman, but you obviously have Milam there. So are you –
Daniel Dickinson.
There you go. That's his name. Are you recruiting guys that you have comfortable playing in all three or different spots in the infield? And, with catcher kind of being open, is there a chance we see the big man back there and just taking up both boxes?
Big Bear.
And Big Bear behind the dish every couple innings?
Yeah.
Thought about it.
No, I want to speak about Jared real quick. I'm super proud of him, and he had a heck of a season. And, I'm not going to pretend to be a professional baseball scout, but I think we were very fortunate to get him back. You don't see that kind of light tower power very often. I thought his swing decisions were very good this year. I thought he hit against the best pitchers, and he played a great first base. So lucky is how I look at that. So I'm super excited about that. He definitely can catch. You could roll him over to third base. I thought he was an elite first baseman, and maybe went unnoticed this year because we had a couple years of Trey Morgan before that. Was obviously a wizard, but Jared did an excellent job defensively there too. So I just say nothing's off the table right now. This team needs to compete. The players on the team need to compete. They need to develop. They need to become winning players for LSU and valuable players for professional baseball someday. And so I'm excited. I'm really going in with an open mind. You mentioned Daniel Dickinson. he's incredibly talented. Hit 16 homers, had 32 stolen bases. But it's not just that, or the athlete. This guy plays extremely hard. He's going to push guys along and play with the attitude and the style that I want. And that's going to be required out of everybody. So, it's not you don't have to be a great evaluator to go, Jared Jones is probably going to be a big part of our lineup next year,
right.
But I'm wide open with how we're going to do this thing at this point in time.
Bat him lead off.
Coach, are you sure he's going to be in the lineup next year? Are you positive?
I don't know. He's got to earn that way in there. You know what I mean? He hasn't done enough. Coach, a lot of people, we talk about the recruits, we talk about the transfers, talk about the guys you get back. I think, and we've talked about this, and I mentioned it to you, I think the biggest recruit that a lot of people are maybe forgetting to talk about is, Chase Shores gets to come back next year, and he's going to be healthy. He's got potential number 1 overall stuff. How's his recovery? How's he feeling? What's it look like, and I guess what's his plan moving forward going into the fall?
Yeah, I'm super pleased with Chase. I think, something unknown, and it's hard to talk about right now because it brings back some of the pain of the regional. But had we beaten North Carolina and held on to that lead in the 9th inning, he would have been on the roster for the Super
Wow.
Regional. And,
Wow.
it's one of those things like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
You hear that all the time. Like, maybe that wasn't supposed to happen or meant to be, but he has crushed it with his rehab, his throwing. He looks like a physical specimen right now. He's already 6'8" or whatever, but big arms, big body, in the weight room every single day. And, just he's on track.
Yeah.
And that was, if you ask me what was the biggest adversity we had in the national championship season, was probably the night that he went down. There's 13,000 people against Tennessee. It's a true freshman. He rips off his last pitch at 97 miles an hour for strike 3. And then he comes in and says, hey, my arm doesn't feel very good. And then you find out the next day he has Tommy John surgery. Like that was a tough blow. And it's really hard to think about last year had he been healthy wire to wire. We obviously had trouble with the third game of the series. Well, our other 2 starters were pretty good. They just made a lot of money. And if you threw him in there, there is no trouble with the third game. And so I'm proud of the team for overcoming not having one of the best pitchers in the country in Chase. And I'm really excited for Chase and for our team to have him back full speed, ready to go. And he's crushed the rehab thing.
That's exciting. That's very exciting to hear because we only got to see him for a smudge of time, and
19 and 2/3 innings.
Yeah, not enough. It was
he knows exactly. He probably knows how many pitches to the team.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see him for as long as we want, but we got to see one of the big guys that you had that year throw a lot, and you get to continue to watch him pitch. I bought the MLB package just to watch him every 5th day. I'm spending a lot of money just to watch him, but he's that special of a pitcher, and I think you're seeing that around Major League Baseball. He's the face of the league, it seems like right now, and he's not even trying to be. He's just being himself, and he's just so talented that it's almost mesmerizing to watch. He got to start the All-Star game as a rookie. How cool is that to watch him develop and be the guy that you saw, but not everybody else gets to see it?
This is awesome, like what Paul's doing. Like, I'm not someone that gets kind of wrapped up in all the hype of things. And I was literally sitting on my couch last night at home, and I literally just turned to Marine and said, this is sick. This is so awesome right now. And nobody deserves it more than he does. It's generational talent, but he does everything right, whether it's work ethic, preparation, just how he was talking about, the other players at the All-Star game and picking their brains and, staying there for all 9 innings, instead of bailing out of there.
Yeah.
And and there's only one of them. And just super, honored that he chose to come here. And obviously we won a national title and it's worked out great for everybody. But he's the best. It's been a busy summer, and, he texted me couple Sundays ago when before it became announced that he was, he made the All-Star team, and he's like, hey, before this comes out, I just want you to know. And what does Paul say? I wouldn't be here without you, or I wouldn't be here without LSU, which, maybe some of that's true, but maybe not, because the guy's exceptional. And but that's the type of person he is. And man, I've really enjoyed watching that, and super proud of him, obviously.
Coach, man, I gotta hearing you talk about that, you sitting on the couch and you watching that situation had to be a really cool experience for you. Because, it was only months ago. It wasn't 2 years ago. It wasn't 3 years ago. It was only months ago that you were having to do whatever politicking, if you want to call it that, you would have to do to front offices to kind of give people what type of player, what type of person, what type of human he was, and to see it take shape as fast and as to the level that it has, and you sit back and watch it in a completely, I guess, removed version of it. It has to be just something that's really cool. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of cool things. You've had a lot of guys that go to the big leagues. You've had a lot of guys do some successful things, but this is different. And I think we can all kind of sit here and say like 100% it's different.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I remember thinking going into the draft, like, if they don't pick him, like Ben Cherington should be fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not a draft scout, though.
And he's an amazing baseball dude. Like, that dude is brilliant. But I was like, this dude doesn't ever come around. And what's crazy about it is you have Dylan right there, who you could totally pick Dylan. And it would be 1,000% the correct move also. And then like Wyatt Langford from Florida.
Right.
So I don't know that we'll ever see another draft like that again, where you have like 3 players of that caliber. And it's from that to now, you would go like, no way is he 6-0, and no way he started the All-Star game when he was just pitching in Omaha like 12 months earlier. Like, that's a very normal thought unless you know Paul. And if you know Paul and his talent and how he's built, it's not really a surprise, to be honest with you.
And I wanted to hit on another guy that I think it speaks to the culture of LSU, not only that has been established, but that you helped build, like Dylan Cruz and Dugas coming back and just popping in the facility. How much does that mean to not only you, but like what you're building here and how much that helps in recruiting, I would imagine?
Yeah, it's unreal. That was a highlight of the week, too. Those guys coming down and, coming in and, I mean, those two, like, have made this whole thing for me. Like, what we did and winning a national championship, like, we'll always have that. But how they did what they did is really set us up for a long and a great future here in terms of, you point to Dylan and you go like, that's how it should be done. And not everybody can do it like him because he's such a special person in terms of humility, character, work ethic, talent. And, and you look at Gavin that came back for a 5th year or even a 4th year and a 5th year, which helped us get off to the start that we did, and then for them to want to come back and hang out. Like, we were supposed to go to dinner and it just didn't work out because, I had all kinds of stuff going on with the draft and they had some things they wanted to get to. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to be here for you guys every day of your life. So why don't you just go and enjoy your All-Star break? But I mean, just sitting in the office with both of them for like an hour was probably the highlight of the week, to be honest with you.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad, it's kind of the aura of LSU. It's easy to come back because it's just fun. You have a family, you create a family here, but I kind of want to go back, and it has something to do. Obviously, it includes Dylan, it includes Paul, but I think part of the reason why Paul has become not just the talent, but like sort of the face of baseball, is because usually it used to be in the past.
Well, I thought you were gonna say because of Livy Dunn.
No, well, that doesn't hurt either, probably, but.
Another great recruiting shot.
Whenever in the past, whenever you would get drafted out of college or high school, like even college, people forget about you because it takes you 2, 3, 4 years to get back to get to the big leagues. It took a little bit of a longer trek. Now with more talent coming to college, teams thinking that you're a little bit more developed than you were maybe in the past, and you're kind of cruising through. Paul Skenes was on national TV doing crazy things last year in the College World Series, and he's been kind of in the public eye for the last year because of his meteoric rise, similar to Dylan Cruz, similar to Wyatt Langford. And it's like you build these fans in Omaha in college, and now they continue to remember your name because you get there. Do you see that being something that's going to continue forward with the fast, the college guys get to the big leagues a lot faster?
Yeah, 100%. And I think thinking back to the College World Series last year, like what we did to get through that tournament and win it and win the national championship, it's like you're having to get Wyatt Langford out 15 times.
Right.
You're having to beat Rhett Lauder. You're having to beat that Wake Forest bullpen. You're trying to beat Josh Hartle. Tennessee, look at all the guys they had drafted on the first day. That's that's the 3 teams that we played, in Omaha. And there might be 30 big leaguers, which is crazy, that you have to play through to do that. And I think you have to learn how to win. You have to learn how to get through failure. You have to learn how to be a great teammate, respect the game. There's no entitlement. Every guy on our team, had to earn everything that they got. And that's what professional baseball is. I mean, the professional baseball does not care who the shortstop, second baseman, and third baseman are. They have 1 billion infielders in their organization. They throw it up against the wall, and whoever sticks, and you have to earn your way. And so I think playing in an environment like this, man, it's what a learning opportunity. If that's what you really want to do, I mean, you get that here. And so guys leaving in LSU, a Florida, Wake Forest, Tennessee, they're as prepared for that as anybody in the country.
Yeah. Now more than ever, college sports, college baseball in particular has a lot more value, and there's a lot more guys that maybe were high school draftees that are coming to college to develop because of the talent, because of now NIL, because of the fast way you can move through minor league baseball up to the big league. So it's great for us as college baseball fans. It's great for you to be able to bring in talent and play against the best, and
bring in the best.
And that's what you've been doing. Congratulations on a great offseason, obviously going into the next fall. Football is right around the corner. Obviously, I know you're definitely not a gamer, and you definitely haven't gotten the NCAA 2025 video game. Lloyd has been playing it all night. But I know you're a college football fan, and you got to be pretty pumped.
I'm the head coach of LSU football.
Jesus Christ. Made a real impression on him. I know.
Big shoes to fill. Great coach. We got a couple 5-stars in the chamber. It's only week 1.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I think Coach Kelly and the boys have that wired pretty good.
They just got one. They just got the #1 cornerback in the country. Commit to LSU just now.
Yeah, so I need another tiger emoji from you.
Yeah, so.
Nice. Yeah, I got to keep up. That's a good group to keep up with because they're on track in a great way.
No doubt. Coach, I appreciate your time as always. Enjoy hotel living or recruiting or whatever you're doing right now. Maybe you're on vacation.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
I mean, I've probably spent more nights in a Courtyard Marriott than any house I've ever lived in. So I guess I'm at home.
It's just your house. That's it.
Bond Boy points is just booming right now.
That's it. Booming.
Yeah.
That's it.
I can take you guys on
You're
vacation
like double platinum. You got free. You don't pay for any rooms.
Got this out at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
No doubt.
You want another night?
I appreciate you. We'll have you on again soon, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Yep.